Speaker Johnson and Congressman Chris Smith.
Wow, thanks so much. What a great crowd, and right on the verge of a polar vortex. Your commitment is greatly appreciated. I want to congratulate my friend JD for the big announcement on the baby that's due in July. I told him backstage, my wife Kelly's with me. Kelly, raise your hand. My wife Kelly. We have 4 children as well. We all celebrate life in word and in deed, and we're so glad that you are here to prove that. This is an important weekend. It always is, because we welcome the opportunity to recommit ourselves to this cause of life and to remember why it is we gather and march in the cold weather. It's important for us to stand together. And my friends, it's especially important this year because, as you know, this is the year we celebrate our nation's 250th birthday, the greatest nation in the history of the world. The thing that we celebrate about America, there's so much for which we are blessed and we're thankful for, but the thing that we remember, especially at this time, is the foundational truth of America, the bold statement of faith that set this experiment in self-governance, this independent country, along its way. We celebrate the self-evident truth that all people, every single person is made by God. We are made by our Creator. Yes. The founders understood that we are made in the image of our Creator and that He is the one that gives us our inalienable rights, the rights to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Our rights do not derive from the government. They derive from God Himself, and we need to remind everybody of that. We celebrate that premise here today and every day because we understand that is what makes America unique and special, the idea that we are made in the image of God, and we owe our responsibility to Him as well, and we have to exercise that freedom in a responsible manner. This moment is truly an historic one for the pro-life movement, and you all know that. For the first time since Roe v. Wade was reversed, we have the White House, the Senate, and the House all working together to deliver meaningful and historic pro-life victories. And just consider, as the Vice President was saying just a moment ago, just consider what 1 year of common sense pro-life leadership can actually accomplish. With President Trump and Vice President Vance, the Republican team is making and taking a new approach. For the first time, our greatest metric of success is not just the size of the gross domestic product or highs in the stock market. It is the strength of the American family again. That's what we've brought back. That's what we've brought back. We measure our success on the number of lives we save and the lives we improve and uplift with common sense, life-affirming policies. It's you, my friends, who will help us to usher in America's new golden age, as President Trump says. And as Vice President said here, Republicans are working hard to deliver on the mandate that you gave us in the last election to make it easier than ever before to raise a family in this great country of ours. And because we know that support for American families doesn't end at birth, our policies reflect this. With the Working Families Tax Cut, for example, we passed the most pro-life and pro-family legislation that has been signed into law in decades, and we did it on July 4th last year. We worked hard, this group of legislators behind me and all of our colleagues, we worked hard to expand the child tax credit, to enhance the adoption tax credit, and we launched the first of its kind Trump investment accounts for every newborn in America. Thanks to this bill, we also delivered the largest middle and working class tax cuts in the history of this country. And yeah, that's right, worthy of applause. We put more money in your pocket, and you can decide what's best for your family instead of government bureaucrats. We also achieved something that is totally unprecedented, and it was mentioned a little bit earlier, and we should say it again. For years now, we know that Medicaid funds have skirted the essential protections under the Hyde Amendment and funneled tax dollars to abortion providers. And we said no more. And in the Working Families Tax Cut, the big beautiful bill, for the first time ever, we finally defunded big abortion, and it was a long time coming. We stand here today with one united voice to affirm the federal government should not be subsidizing any industry that profits from the elimination of human life. And today I'm so proud to stand along so many principal leaders here in Congress. You heard their names. They helped us achieve these victories. Chris Smith, as was said, for 4 decades has been leading the pro-life caucus in Congress. Just this week, Congresswoman Michelle Fischbach. Michelle, raise your hand. She introduced, She introduced her bill, ensuring federal assistance can be used to support pregnancy resource centers across the country. That's a big thing. We know how important those centers are to give hundreds of thousands of pregnant women and moms a choice in the care they receive. Another warrior, Congresswoman Ashley Hinson, passed her bill, the Pregnant Students' Rights Act, which equips young women finishing their education with the resources they need to choose life. I could go on and on, yes. I could be up here all day telling you about all of the things that are being done, but you need to know, in summary, that we are fulfilling our promises, and that promise that is central to what we stand for is to protect the sanctity of human life. We contend these warriors, and I tell you what, in the election cycle coming up this year, we're going to send some more pro-life champions here to Congress. I just want to close with this. It was mentioned earlier that we all have a reason that we march. We all have a reason that we believe so strongly in this principle, and my life story is that one. And in 2 sentences, I was the product of an unplanned teen pregnancy exactly 1 year before Roe in January of 1972. And a lot of people try to convince my very young parents that they should just take care of that problem. But I am eternally grateful that they allowed me the chance at life. I think of the millions of children that did not have that same opportunity. And every single child deserves the opportunity to fulfill their God-given potential. And it is up to us to defend that freedom and that right, that essential freedom to be born, the unalienable right to life that is imperiled in our generation. And we're so grateful that you are willing to march and stand and speak for that issue. I'm happy to say that all this is changing because of you. And despite the special interests that fund abortion, and despite the voices that tell you to look away from the beating heart, and despite all those who continue to deny the truth, you are here, and we are here, and we stand together for life. We're so grateful for all that you do. Every single one of you has the power to change hearts and minds and ultimately to save lives, and we can never forget that, and I know that you want. I want to thank you all for coming out, braving the cold and the weather that's on the way. It's worth it. We're going to save lives together. God bless you all. May God bless the United States of America.
We have an amazing speaker. He's strong, he's lion-hearted, he's got a heart of gold as well. And does he ever lead effectively, especially now that we have such a narrow majority? He's just amazing. Steve Scalise, a great majority leader. We have a leadership that is second to none. I've been here since Ronald Reagan's first election, 1981. And I can tell you, this leadership is the most pro-life, so committed, and behind me are just absolute heroes, men and women who take up the fight every single day. You know, Michelle Fischbach's bill that passed this week to help pregnancy care centers, only 1 Democrat voted for it. And the debate, if you go back and watch it on C-SPAN, was disgusting as the pregnancy care centers were smeared by the Democrats who were leading the charge against it. Of course, Michelle stood strongly against it and did an amazing job, and we did secure its passage. Let me just say very briefly, my dear wife Marie and I, more than 50 years ago, met in the pro-life movement. And today, like you, we are more committed, hope-filled, determined, and let me add, more impatient than ever to see life celebrated as a gift from God. With indomitable faith, compassion, and tenacity, and all of you I know are doing this, we must today recommit to protecting the weakest and the most vulnerable. As the speaker has indicated, and others before, more than 2,700 pregnancy care resource centers throughout the U.S. are helping women choose life. And each and every one of those centers is an oasis of love, empathy, compassion, and they have helped so many women, both during the pregnancy and afterwards, as well as the families. Yet, all over the country, especially in my state of New Jersey, there's an all-out effort to shut them down, which is outrageous. The smears that are being borne by the pregnancy care center community are unconscionable, and we need to push back as never before to protect them. Let me remind everybody that the Knights of Columbus did another Marist poll, and it did find that 84% of Americans, including 75% of Democrats, support pregnancy care centers. Let me just say briefly, and I know you know this, and I hope the media takes more note of it as this day and these days go on, but the purveyors of death and their enablers in politics and academia and elsewhere aggressively foster a culture of death, and they do employ a seemingly endless array of deceitful tactics, often the big lie, to trivialize and mask the cruelty of abortion. The abortion pill, mifepristone, is baby poison that kills the unborn child by starving the baby girl or the baby boy to death. That's how it works. Starvation, a pill to starve another human being. We now know that the abortion pill, and we've long suspected this, is extremely dangerous to women. And I ask the media, investigative reporters, start uncovering or get rid of this cover-up that we've had since the Clinton administration. The Ethics in Public Policy Center released a historic report that found that, called The Abortion Pill Harms Women, and they found that over 10% of all women who take that pill have very serious adverse events because of it, including sepsis and hemorrhaging. FDA says it's 0.5%. Those numbers were cooked up by previous Obama and, of course, the Clinton and then into the Biden administration. That's got to stop. We've got to unmask this herder, this killer of women, as well as the adverse effect it's having. Let me just conclude. And you heard it from our Vice President so eloquently in his remarks, but President Trump's new comprehensive Protecting Life in Foreign Assistance, also known as the Mexico City policy, and as you know, it got its name because Reagan sent a delegation to a UN conference in Mexico City, and at that, Senator James Buckley and others announced this tremendous policy of no longer supporting any organization that promotes or supports abortion. And then, though, it only applied to family planning, about $500 million. Trump, in his first term, put all global health under that. That was about $9 billion. And today, he's putting all foreign assistance, about $30 billion, under the Mexico City provisions. And that means that the Planned Parenthoods, the Marie Stopes Internationals, and all of these other hideous groups that kill babies, promote the killing of babies, every day of the week, they do it here in Washington, they do it in foreign capitals, are defunded by this administration. Each and every day, my friends, and I conclude, thanks to your efforts and your prayers, many unborn children and their mothers have been, are being, and will be protected. We know that the injustice of abortion need not be forever. God bless you, everyone.
Hello, marchers. I'm very sorry I couldn't be with you all today, but I wanted to send my greetings. My greetings and my gratitude to all of you for making your way to D.C. from every corner of the country to stand up for the right to life. You are here today to witness the great truth that every human being, no matter how small or vulnerable, is infinitely valuable, created in the image of God. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, the Lord says in Jeremiah. Before you were born, I set you apart. Abortion is an evil that's too often brushed to the side. But you all are ensuring that we don't brush it aside. And I am proud to stand with you. And I am very proud to be able to say to you today that in 2025, for the first time ever, Congress defunded big abortion. With the Working Families Tax Cuts, Congress enacted the first pro-life law in decades. And thanks to that landmark legislation, this year some of the nation's largest abortion providers, including Planned Parenthood, are prohibited from receiving Medicaid funding. The organizations that have turned the killing of babies into a business are cut off. Next week, we'll be considering legislation to ensure that pregnant college students have access to the support that they need to carry their baby to term and to care for their child. And I pledge to you that as Majority Leader of the United States Senate, I and my pro-life colleagues will continue to do everything we can in Congress to support moms and protect preborn children. We may not always be successful, but we will never stop trying. Thank you all for being at the march today, and God bless you all as you stand up for the great gift of human life.
Thank you, Speaker Johnson and Congressman Smith, and we're grateful to Leader Thune for his remarks.